La- Ladies and gentlemen, in the subtle art of human discourse, one must maintain a balance between human communication and reticent silence, wherein the oscillation between the two can catalyze profound socio-cultural metamorphoses. Does anyone have any idea what I just said? Well, me neither. But to put it in its most simplest form, conversations lead to change. The large paragraph that I just said before was an example of a yap. Y-A-P, yap. Ladies and gentlemen, I've rolled the dice in conversations way more times than I can count. And let me tell you, yapping, it's an art form. Welcome to the art of yapping. There are a couple of people here who may not be too familiar with this new word. For some context, I'm a member of Generation Z, or Gen Z, born between 1997 to 2012. Preceding us are millennials, born from around 1981 to 1996. And before us is Generation X, or Gen X, born from approximately 1960 to 1980. And if you were born before that, congratulations on making it this far. Now, Gen Z, a generation filled with change makers, from Malala Yousafzai to Greta Thunberg, to even Haley Welch from the Talk to Our podcast. But Gen Z is known for having a lot of vocabulary, like yap, which is often confusing towards the older generation. Sometimes these words are made up, or sometimes they're just repackaged from the original form into a new form. Consider, for example, the word Riz, R-I-Z-Z. For example, I have W Riz. Short for charisma, this word started off as a TikTok joke in 2023, eventually led to it being named Oxford Dictionary's Word of the Year in 2023. And just like that, Gen Z vocabulary can be a little confusing for millennials and the generation before that. Now, when I first say the word yap, I'm certain that many people resort to Google and see this definition. A shrill, inconsistent bark, often done by a dog. Now, before you think I'm going to be talking about the art of barking like a dog, for some context, Gen Z vocabulary changes every day. In 2023, yapping, or being a yapper, had a negative connotation to it. A yapper was someone who would keep on talking for endless hours with no clue when to stop. Today, in 2024, yapping, or being a yapper, is a compliment. In its essence, yapping is to be able to talk about anything at all while knowing nothing about it. Yapping is not just a quest to remove those dreaded awkward silences. It's a step towards romanticizing unpredictability and embracing challenges. You see, yapping is like rolling a pair of dice. Maybe you hit the jackpot and spark a brilliant new idea and make a great first impression. Or you leave the room with a couple of eyebrows raised. But either way, yapping is how we push beyond our limits and embrace the unexpected. Now, I'm described as a professional yapper by my friends. And from this quest, I can talk about the history of chocolates right now while knowing nothing about it. And in this quest, I've learned a thing or two. Firstly, yapping gets you noticed and leaves a great first impression. Let's take an example. Suppose you meet your friend for the first time, and this friend buys you a cup of coffee and gives it to you. They ask you, do you like coffee? Let's consider two responses to this. The first one, you say a boring old, no, I do not like coffee. This makes it extremely awkward for the person who got you that coffee and shows that you can't really initiate a conversation. On the other hand, consider I add a little bit of a yap element into it. I talk a lot about useless things, but it adds value to it. Consider this response. I don't particularly enjoy coffee unless it's sweet and covered in sugar, but I do occasionally take a black coffee in the morning to run my morning errands. See, this single yap, which I just did, has conveyed three new things to the speaker. I'm great at making connections, I'm a morning person, and I have a sweet tooth. A single yap has conveyed more information about me than a boring old no, I do not like coffee. My generation loves to be unique. There was a famous TikTok trend in 2023 under the tagline, never let them know your next move. And this was a step towards romanticizing unpredictability. This trend involved people doing the most random and out-of-the-blue things, such as using a spoon to comb their hair or spraying perfume on spaghetti. But this was a step towards embracing the unexpected. When I yap, there is low predictability and high impact. The mantra for standing out in today's world and the formula for a successful yap. Let me repeat that again. Low predictability, high impact. Suppose a senior professional comes and asks me, Antony, what did you do last afternoon? I could give the direct answer and say, I scrolled on TikTok for 2 hours. Or I could give a little more jazzed up answer, which is unpredictable but leaves a high impact. Consider this instead of I scrolled on TikTok for 2 hours. I brainstormed and analyzed social media trends on a platform with over 1.2 billion users and engaged with local content creators to provide valuable insights and critical commentary. In the form of a yap. It's a little unnecessary, but conveys a great deal of information and makes a lasting impression. Yap culture has made its way to every office and business in the business world today. Newspapers across the world are talking about yapping culture by Gen Z and how it's led to amazing benefits in workplace environments. In this way, yapping evolves as a social currency. It is often a reminder that it is the journey of the conversation and not the destination. I'm a professional debater, and it's never the verdict or the final consensus which excites me. Rather, it's the flow of ideas, the instant yapping that I do on stage, the random connections that I make that truly make debating enjoyable for me. But why exactly is yapping effective? You see, there's a science behind yapping. When I yap, I'm put on the spot with impromptu questions and on-the-spot answers. This forces my brain to make links from nowhere. And I don't have time to double-check every word. So my ideas come out raw, real, and unfiltered. You could find me arguing passionately for why pineapple belongs on pizza, making random links in my head. And this is exactly how yapping is conveyed. Now, there is only one main rule to master the art of yapping, and that is always add a little bit of extra detail, even if it feels unnecessary. Take that risk. Just like the coffee example I gave earlier, a single yap made my conversation memorable and made it extremely well placed, especially while meeting a new person. The same way, yapping culture can be extended with its low predictability and high impact today. Today, yapping is romanticized extremely by Gen Z and people all across the world. Yapping sessions with coffee or a yappuccino or yapping with the side of scenery is going viral on TikTok. If there's one thing we can learn from yapping, it's that whether you can finesse your way through situations, as Gen Z would say, or maneuver your way through unseen situations. For example, if someone asks you a simple question on your opinion on neoliberal capitalism, or maybe your opinion on Van Gogh's paintings, and you know nothing about it, just yap a little, roll the dice, and take that risk. In the past, it was often seen as well-behaved or you maintained decorum when you stayed silent when you didn't know anything. But today, especially with our generation, you must take that risk, even if you don't know anything. For the impression that you at least tried or attempted to take a risk is far more valuable than the regret of staying silent. So the next time that someone asks you about your day or your opinion on Van Gogh's paintings, you know what to do. Yap a little and roll the dice. Thank you.